Hello everybody, I'm David McKeigue, Chief Executive of Open Sight Hampshire, and I'm here having a chat using our Teams technology with Steve Geary, Independent Living Advisor at Open Sight Hampshire, charity for the visually impaired covering the county of Hampshire. And it's a momentous actually occasion because last week Steve celebrated 20 years of working here at Open Sight Hampshire, previously known as Hampshire Association for the Care of the Blind. And Steve, as I've said, works as an independent living advisor here. Steve actually is also visually impaired. Steve, would you tell us about your sight loss condition?
Yes, mine. It's very rare. It's actually called retrobulbar neuritis, and in effect, basically, I had a virus, and it attacked my optic nerves, and it just about went overnight. The sight that I do have was saved really by a course of steroids. That got rid of the virus, and I'm left for the damage it did. And I've had to cope with that ever since I was 23 years old.
Wow, since 23, wow. So how did you join Open Sight 20 years ago, Steve?
It's quite like, I mean, when I did lose my sight, sort of things were a bit different with attitudes of people. And very much if someone had sight loss, they were pigeonholed into what they could do. You could be like a switchboard operator or a typist or things like that. And I did work as a word processor operator for 7 years, and basically I got bored. So I thought the only way I'm going to make people notice a bit more, if you like, I need a higher qualification. So I actually went and got a degree in social science. And I thought maybe people might take a bit more notice that I can do something a bit more than typing. And the job that was advertised that I applied for was for patient support officer at Southampton Eye Unit. And so it was partly funded by Hampshire County Council, Southampton City Council, the hospital, the NHS Trust, and at that time, Hampshire Association for the Care of the Blind, who took the main role of managing the position. And that's where I started.
Okay. And,
I thought because I chose to study sort of social science, one thing I love is people, because that's what that study is all about. And the other thing is having sight loss myself, I think in some ways it's almost an advantage to talk to people who are going through the process of losing sight. They know I understand what it feels like,
Yeah.
It's almost like an advantage. And that's what spurred me to go for the job.
Yeah. So Steve, as the chief exec here, I've been on board about 4 years now, I guess. But you've been on board 20 years. So way back then, what kind of services was the charity providing, and how many staff worked for the charity then?
Well, in some ways, it's very similar to now. The number of staff is just about the same. Obviously, we don't provide the role that I did have at the Eye Unit any longer. Unfortunately, that contract was lost after I had moved over to what I do now. But we still had people who did home visits, who carried out assessments. We still had people help with benefit applications. We still had the clubs that we have now all being run and managed. And we had a resource centre.
Okay.
So face-to-face services are quite similar.
Yeah.
What we don't have then was we didn't have the for family support.
Yeah, sure.
But
Sure.
there was some activities organised, which went ahead in those days. So
Yeah.
you know, overall, it's fairly similar.
I guess though, over the 20 years, you've seen a lot of changes, particularly around technology and equipment, no doubt. Yeah.
That change is vast. It's
Yeah.
huge. Because one thing, even where I carry out low vision assessments, the magnifiers that we had then, the lights in them and things like that were nowhere near the quality we have now, because LEDs have been invented. They weren't there then. We used to have little tungsten bulbs. It was after I started doing home visits, which was in 2006. It was after that we had handheld electronic magnifiers, and gradually they've improved over the years. We have even those sort of magnifiers now that will not only magnify, you can read with them. And then there's been the huge sort of development in mobile smartphones.
Yeah.
And software. I mean, that couldn't have been dreamt of when I started.
No, big changes, big changes.
Yeah, and no, it's and then you get a piece of equipment like the Orcam with its, you know, ability to be able to read things to you and process things so quickly. It's astonishing.
Yeah.
And then we even have now these companies that are producing sort of goggles that are helping some people to see so much better. Not cheap, but it is working for some people.
Yeah.
The change is just astonishing. Yeah.
So I know, Steve, that you've helped a lot of our clients to achieve really great outcomes over the last 20 years, and you've been involved in a lot of activities for Hampshire Association for the Care of the Blind, and of course the renamed Open Sight. But anything stick out particularly in your memory you want to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, when we were going through the process of sort of rebranding, I suppose, when we became Open Sight, I let out the bag that soon after I lost my sight, that I actually kayaked from Devizes to Westminster.
Wow.
And so 25 years later, I was persuaded to do it again for Open Sight. So it's partly to promote, you know, the new name, and partly to raise some funds.
Yeah.
But you know, I did it with a colleague, and we were in separate kayaks. It wasn't a double one, and you know, he was shouted out directions to me if I was going a bit off course, but he believed it, and we had great support. Another colleague had the caravan, so we had somewhere to put our head down at night. But you know, this was in 2007, and I mean, some people may remember that in July that year there were a lot of floods.
Right.
In London, the Thames, etc. And really, we got so far, we had to just do a couple of miles to get to Teddington Lock to start the final push. And but we had a day off basically on the Friday, because the storm that we had, I've never experienced anything like it. The noise and the water. And I think if we hadn't got as far as we did, we wouldn't have been able to finish it.
No.
It was a great sort of week we had doing it. No. But you know, it's not exactly doing the job I'm doing now, but it's a great memory, you know.
It sounds fantastic, and second time around as well. Well, look, Steve, on behalf of the charity Open Sight, and I'm sure all of the visually impaired clients out there in Hampshire that you've helped over the years, a big thank you for your hard work and efforts. And I know you're still with us, and hopefully you're going to continue to work for us. And I know that you'll continue to work as hard as ever to support the visually impaired clients of Hampshire. So thanks very much indeed, Steve.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.